7:45 p.m., Christmas Eve. Warren Caldwell's hands wouldn't stop shaking, not from the cold, but from the 15 missed calls burning through his phone screen. The blind date was supposed to start 45 minutes ago. He sat in his delivery truck, still in his grease-stained work uniform, staring at the address of a restaurant he could never afford. He knew nothing about the woman waiting inside except her first name, Naomi, and that she'd agreed to meet him anyway. His college buddy had set this up, kept saying, "Just trust me, man. She's different." Different how? Different enough to wait for a single dad who works 3 jobs and shows up smelling like motor oil. Every logical part of his brain screamed to turn the truck around, go home to Rosie, forget this ever happened. But then his phone buzzed one more time. A single text from an unknown number. "I'm still here. Take your time." She was still waiting. The question that would haunt him for weeks was simple. Why? And the answer, when he finally learned who she really was, would turn both their worlds upside down in ways neither could have imagined. Warren stared at that text, his truck's heater giving up with a final cough. The December cold seeped in, but he barely noticed. "I'm still here. Take your time." 6 words that made no sense to a man who'd learned nothing good ever waited for him. He thought about Rosie, 9 years old and too smart for her own good, who'd pushed him out the door 3 hours ago. "Mom would want you to be happy," she'd said. That's what killed him, the way his daughter talked about her mother in past tense, like 3 years was long enough to stop missing someone who'd been everything. Warren pushed open the truck door. The cold hit hard, but he was already moving, boots crunching through snow toward the restaurant's golden light. The doorman gave him a look, worn work boots, oil-stained jacket, but simply opened the door. Warren stepped into a world that didn't belong to him. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, wine glasses too delicate to use. The hostess's professional smile flickered when she saw his appearance. "Can I help you?" The tone was polite but distant. "I'm meeting Naomi," Warren said. The hostess checked her tablet, and something shifted in her expression. "Of course. Right this way." She was alone at a table by the window. No phone, no drink, no book. Just sitting there, watching snow fall. When she turned, Warren forgot every apology he'd rehearsed. She had warm brown eyes that met his without judgment, dark hair pulled back simply. She stood, nearly as tall as him. "Warren? I'm Naomi. I'm so sorry," Warren said. "I got held up at work." Naomi smiled, a real smile. "You're here now. That's what matters." Warren gestured at his uniform. "I'm not exactly dressed for this place." "Neither am I," Naomi said with something knowing in her tone. "I hate places like this. Too much performance, not enough connection." A waiter appeared, rattling off specials in French. Warren's stomach sank. He'd seen the prices online. No way he could afford this. Naomi must have seen his face. "I have a confession," she said. "I'm tired of fancy restaurant food. There's a diner 2 blocks from here, Anthony's. What do you say we get out of here?" Warren stared. "Are you serious?" "Completely." Naomi was already standing. "Unless you really want to stay." "No, a diner sounds perfect." They left together, Naomi leaving cash for drinks they hadn't ordered. Outside, snow fell harder, catching in Naomi's hair. Warren pointed to his beat-up delivery truck. "It's not much, but it runs most days." Naomi laughed a real laugh. "I love it. It looks like it has stories." The truck coughed to life, heater still broken. But Naomi didn't seem to care, looking out at the passing city with a smile. Anthony's diner was perfect vinyl booths with duct tape patches, a jukebox playing 80s songs. Patty, the waitress, called everyone honey and brought coffee without being asked. They ordered grilled cheese and fries. "Tell me about Rosie," Naomi said. Warren's whole face changed. "She's 9. Smart. Brave. She's why I do everything. The 3 jobs. All of it." He showed her his phone, Rosie, grinning with missing teeth, wild hair. "She made me come tonight." "She's beautiful," Naomi said softly. "You have your eyes." 3 jobs. What do you do?" Warren hesitated. This was when people's expressions changed. Warehouse work during the day, delivery driver evenings, janitorial on weekends. It keeps the lights on, food on the table. Rosie doesn't go without. That's extraordinary, Naomi said with real admiration. The commitment, the sacrifice, you're actually doing it, not just talking about it. My father was a janitor, worked 3 jobs too. Died when I was 22, heart attack from stress and overwork. Her voice went soft. When Dave told me about you, I knew I had to meet you. People like you. Like my father, you're the real deal. They talked for 2 hours that felt like 20 minutes. Rosie's astronomy obsession, Naomi's terrible cooking, Warren's complicated relationship with his parents, Naomi's siblings who called too much and not enough. Warren found himself laughing more than he had in months. When Patty brought the check, Naomi was faster. My treat. You drove. She handed over a black metal credit card Warren had never seen before. Next time I'm paying, Warren said, then froze. I mean, if you'd want to, I'd like that, Naomi said quietly. A lot, actually. They drove back in Warren's rattling truck. Naomi's car was nearby, a sleek black sedan. She paused before getting out. Thank you for tonight. For being exactly who Dave said you were. Thank you for waiting, Warren said. Naomi leaned across and kissed his cheek. So quickly Warren almost missed it. You look like someone who works hard and loves his daughter and shows up even when he's scared. That's the best kind of look there is. He watched her drive away, tail lights disappearing into snow. His phone buzzed a text from her number. Coffee this weekend? I know a place that's even worse than Anthony's. You'll love it. Warren typed back. It's a date. When he got home, Rosie was awake despite the late hour. How was it? Really good, actually. Is she nice? Yeah, sweetheart. She's nice. She asked about you. Rosie grinned. Are you going to see her again? Maybe. If that's okay with you. Dad, of course it's okay. I just want you to be happy. That night, Warren thought about Naomi's warm eyes and easy laugh, about the kiss that still felt warm on his cheek. Maybe there was room for actual happiness, the kind without guilt. Maybe he deserved it. Saturday came fast. Warren stood outside Bean, there a coffee shop with a terrible pun name that made him smile. Through the window, Naomi sat with 2 cups, wearing jeans and a sweater, looking like someone he might actually have a chance with. They talked for hours. Naomi shared her childhood's small apartment, 3 siblings, learning to be quiet during her father's few hours of sleep. Warren told her about meeting Rosie's mother in college, the marriage that ended when a drunk driver ran a red light 3 years ago. Naomi didn't try to fix it, just listened. Can I ask you something? Naomi said carefully. Why 3 jobs? There must be other options. Training programs. Something that would let you work less. I've thought about it, Warren admitted. But training means less work, which means less income. Rosie going without. And time, when would I find it? Between 3 jobs and making sure Rosie has dinner and homework and some normal childhood, there aren't enough hours. He met her eyes. I'm not complaining. Rosie is worth every sacrifice. But yeah, sometimes I wonder what life would look like if I'd finished my engineering degree. Naomi was quiet. Then, you know what I see? Someone who shows up every day and does what needs to be done. That's worth more than any degree. She paused. My company is always looking for good people. Warehouse management, logistics. Single shift work with benefits. Not charity, she added quickly. Actual jobs. Warren felt hope and pride warring. I appreciate it, but I don't want you to think I'm using you for... Warren, if you were looking for handouts, we wouldn't be here. Just think about it. Send me your resume if you're interested. They walked through the snowy neighborhood afterward. At a corner where a street musician played guitar, Naomi stopped. I should tell you something. About my work. Warren's stomach tightened. Okay. When I said my company did well, I was understating things. We were acquired 2 years ago for a lot of money, enough that I don't technically need to work, but I stayed on as CEO. She paused. Enough that I'm occasionally in the news. Self-made billionaires under 40. Enough that dating is complicated because I never know if someone wants me or my bank account. Billionaire. Warren felt like he'd been hit. He'd been having coffee with a billionaire. Holy hell. Dave thought I should tell you before our first date. But I wanted you to meet me first. Just me, not the net worth or reputation. Naomi looked vulnerable. I've been on dates with men impressed by what I have, but you're the first person in years impressed by my grilled cheese preference. The restaurant, Warren said, pieces clicking. That's why you wanted to leave. Every business dinner, every investor meeting, I'm so tired of performing. Her voice trembled. Then I met you, and you were just real. You showed up late because you were finishing your work. And I thought, finally, someone who sees me, not just the money. I don't care about your money, Warren said, meaning it completely. I like you because you waited, because you suggested the diner, because you talked about your father like he was a hero. He paused. But Naomi, we're from completely different worlds. I don't know how they fit together. Maybe they just need to overlap enough, Naomi said, stepping closer. I'm not asking you to join my world. I'm asking if I can spend time in yours. Because your world has grilled cheese and daughters who care about their dads and honesty I haven't experienced in years. I need time to think, Warren said finally, about whether it's fair to either of us to pretend those different worlds don't matter. Call me when you're ready. Either way, I'm glad I got to know you. That night, Warren looked her up online. Naomi Hartwell, founder and CEO, Forbes, Fortune, Bloomberg. Net worth over $2 billion. Photos of her at galas, always looking lonely despite the crowds. He stared at the job listings on her company website. Warehouse manager, more than he made at 3 jobs combined. Weekends with Rosie. Better Christmas presents. But taking the job felt wrong, like proving everyone right that he was after her money. He texted, "Can we talk tomorrow?" Her response came immediately. "Of course. Name the time and place. Anthony's Diner, 7 p.m. I'm buying this time. Deal." The next evening, Warren arrived early at the diner. Patty gave him a knowing smile. "Your lady friend coming back?" "Hope so." Naomi arrived exactly at 7. For a moment, they just looked at each other. "I've been thinking," Warren started. "I like you. A lot. More than I've liked anyone since my wife died. And that terrifies me, because I can see 100 ways this could go wrong." "Tell me about those 100 ways," Naomi said quietly. "Your world. The galas. Board meetings. I can't be part of that world. I'd embarrass you." "And the money," Warren continued. "Everything you do costs money I don't have. That imbalance, it's not sustainable. Eventually someone would resent it. And Rosie, she's my priority, always. If dating you means less time with her, or exposing her to media attention, or having her get attached only to have you leave, I can't risk that." Naomi was quiet, then spoke gently but firmly. "Everything you're saying is valid. But Warren, you're catastrophizing. You're so focused on how this could fail that you're not considering how it could work. Because things don't work out for people like me," Warren said, the truth spilling out. "I've learned that lesson. Good things happen to other people, not to me." "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard," Naomi said, tears in her eyes. "You're raising an incredible daughter alone, working yourself to exhaustion. You showed up to a blind date because you promised. Those are the actions of someone who deserves good things." "I don't know how to do this," Warren said finally. "I don't know how to date someone from a completely different world." "Then let's figure it out together," Naomi said. "Take it slow, one coffee date at a time, and if it doesn't work, at least we'll know we gave it a real chance." Warren looked at her, this patient woman who'd decided he was worth her time. "What if I mess this up? What if you don't? Aren't you even a little curious?" He was. God help him, he was. "Okay, let's try. But I need you to promise if this starts affecting Rosie negatively, we put her first. Always. Deal." Rosie comes first. I wouldn't have it any other way. She reached across and took his hand. Can I meet her? Officially, as someone you're dating. Warren felt his heart skip. Yeah. She's been asking about you. What has she been asking? If you're nice. If I'm going to see you again. If it's okay if I have a life beyond being her dad. Warren smiled. She's 9 going on 30. She sounds perfect. And for what it's worth, I want you to have a life that makes you happy. I'm working on that. Being here with you, that's part of it. They met Naomi at the park on Saturday. Warren was nervous, but Rosie grabbed his hand and pulled him forward. Naomi was waiting, smiling like they were the best thing she'd seen all week. You must be Rosie, Naomi said, crouching to Rosie's eye level. I've heard so much about you. Good things, I hope, Rosie said, sounding eerily adult. The best things. Your dad says you're interested in astronomy? That broke the ice. Rosie launched into her solar system project, and Naomi listened with genuine interest, asking real questions. They spent 2 hours at the park, Naomi pushing swings, helping with monkey bars, even climbing into the rocket ship when Rosie insisted. Warren watched, heart doing complicated things as he saw how naturally they connected. When Rosie ran off to play, Naomi sat beside Warren. She's amazing. You've done an incredible job. She makes it easy. Then Naomi's tone shifted. I need to tell you something. There's a gala in 2 weeks. Annual investor thing. I have to go, and I'd really like you to come with me. Warren's instinct was to refuse. I don't have anything to wear to something like that. I can't afford much, but I can rent a decent suit. Naomi looked like she wanted to argue but stopped herself. Okay, but Warren, you need to understand what you're walking into. Photographers, maybe reporters. People will ask questions. Some will be rude. Some will assume you're with me for my money. Are you trying to talk me out of going? No, I'm trying to prepare you, because I want you there. But I want you to know what you're signing up for. Warren thought about standing in a room full of judgment, but he also thought about Naomi choosing the diner, about her with Rosie, about her waiting at that restaurant. I'll go. I'll probably be terrible at it, but I'll go, because you're asking. Naomi's smile was worth everything. The next 2 weeks passed quickly, 3 jobs. Time with Rosie, texts with Naomi throughout the day. They saw each other 3 more times. Coffee that turned into hours, dinner at Anthony's where Patty openly approved, and one afternoon where Naomi helped with Rosie's astronomy project. That's when Warren knew this was real, watching Naomi on his worn carpet in jeans, holding papier-mâché Jupiter while Rosie painted, both laughing. The night before the gala, Warren stood in his rented suit, feeling like an imposter. Naomi called. I'm nervous about how my world will react to you. These people control my company, my career. We don't have to do this. I can back out. No, I want you there. I want them to see what I see, someone real, genuine. I'm just scared they won't. They probably won't, Warren said honestly. But that's their problem. I know who I am. I know what I've done for my daughter. If they can't see value in that, they're not as smart as they think. When did you get so wise? Somewhere between the 3rd job and the broken truck. I'm going to be out of place tomorrow no matter what. So I might as well be myself, out of place and honest. I love that about you, Naomi said, then seemed to catch herself. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. The gala was at the Grand Belmont Hotel, a place Warren had once cleaned as a janitor. The irony wasn't lost on him as he parked his truck among luxury cars. Naomi texted, I'm in the lobby. No pressure, but there are photographers and I'd rather face them with you. The lobby was overwhelming chandeliers, marble, designer clothes worth more than his annual salary, and photographers everywhere. Warren spotted Naomi immediately in an emerald green dress. She looked magazine perfect, but when she saw him, her whole face transformed with relief. They walked through together, cameras flashing, whispers following. A reporter stopped them. Miss Hartwell, can you introduce your date? This is Warren Caldwell, Naomi said clearly. "Welcome to the circus." They found their table with company executives. A board member, Marcus Fitzgerald, shook Warren's hand. "You're the talk of the evening." "I'm sure I am," Warren said evenly. "What do you do?" Marcus asked, the question loaded. "3 jobs. Warehouse work, delivery driving, janitorial services. Single father. Doing what needs to be done." Surprise flickered around the table. "That's quite a work ethic," Marcus said finally. Patricia, Naomi's business partner, leaned forward. "And how did you meet?" "Blind date," Naomi interjected. "My friend Dave set us up." Dinner arrived multiple courses Warren couldn't pronounce. He watched which fork Naomi used and copied her. Around them, conversations about stocks and markets went over his head. He was drowning, surrounded by people who'd already decided he wasn't worth their time. Then Gregory Harrison, the board chairman, approached. "Interesting choice for tonight," he said. Warren couldn't tell if it was approval or criticism. "Very authentic." "Warren is authentic in all contexts," Naomi said with an edge. Gregory moved on, but Warren saw him glance back, expression thoughtful in a way that made Warren nervous. After dinner came speeches. Warren's mind wandered, thinking about Rosie, about his apartment, about how many hours he'd need to work to afford one centerpiece. Then Naomi was called to the stage. She spoke about company achievements with the confidence of someone who'd done this 100 times. This was CEO Naomi, the billion-dollar woman who commanded rooms. But at the end, she did something unexpected. "I want to say something personal," she said, gripping the podium. "This past month has reminded me that success isn't measured by stock prices. It's measured by the people we surround ourselves with, the values we hold even when it's difficult." She looked directly at Warren, and every eye turned to follow her gaze. "I've been fortunate in business, but I've been even more fortunate to recently meet someone who reminds me what real worth looks like. Someone who works 3 jobs to support his daughter. Someone who shows up even when terrified, because he promised he would. Someone who has more integrity than most people in this room." Warren's face burned. He wanted to disappear, but Naomi continued. "My father was a janitor. He worked himself to death, making sure his children had opportunities. Every time I'm in a room like this, I try to remember where I came from. The value of a human being isn't in their portfolio, it's in their character." Warren embodies that principle. She stepped away to scattered applause, some genuine, some uncomfortable. Warren felt simultaneously proud and mortified. When she returned, Patricia stared. "Naomi, what were you thinking?" "The board is going to—" "I don't care," Naomi said quietly. "I meant every word." The rest of the evening was tense. People approached with pointed comments about brave choices and interesting perspectives. Warren saw board members huddled, clearly discussing Naomi's speech. Finally, they made their way toward the exit. Gregory Harrison intercepted them in the lobby. "Naomi, a word?" He led them to a quiet corner. That speech was either very brave or very foolish. "It was honest," Naomi said. "But you're the face of this company. Your personal life becomes our brand. Your relationships reflect on us." He looked at Warren. "No offense." "None taken," Warren lied. "The board is concerned about your judgment," Gregory continued. "About whether your personal life is affecting your professional decisions." "My personal life has never interfered with my work," Naomi said coldly. "Perhaps not yet, but you have to see how this looks. Questions about your motivations, about his motivations, about whether this is sustainable." Warren felt anger spike. "You're questioning whether our relationship is real because I don't have enough money?" "I'm questioning whether it's sustainable," Gregory said. "The wealth gap becomes impossible to navigate. Someone always ends up resentful. Will you be comfortable living in her world while contributing nothing financially?" "We'll figure it out," Warren said hollowly. Gregory shook his head. "Naomi is worth billions. She operates in a world where deals happen over dinners that cost more than your monthly rent." How long before that divide becomes impossible to ignore? The board is already talking about your stability, your judgment, whether we need to reconsider your position. Naomi went pale. You can't be serious. I'm very serious. Don't throw away years of credibility for a relationship that statistics say won't last 6 months. Warren felt something break. I should go. This is between you and your board. No. Naomi grabbed his arm. Warren, please. He's not wrong, Warren interrupted gently. About the challenges. But he is wrong about one thing. This isn't just some fling. I care about you. Actually care. Not about your money or status. So yeah, maybe we'll crash and burn, but we deserve the chance to find that out ourselves, without a board running statistics on our relationship. He turned to Naomi. I'm going home. Call me when you're done. She looked torn but nodded. Warren made it to his truck before emotions hit anger, humiliation, certainty that Gregory was probably right. His phone rang before he'd left the garage. Naomi. Don't, she said immediately. Don't let him get in your head. He didn't say anything we weren't already thinking. Your board will always have opinions. And eventually, the gap between what I can offer and what you're used to is going to matter. Or we could decide it doesn't matter. That what we have is worth fighting for. Warren wanted to believe her. And if fighting for us means you lose your company, I can't be the reason, Naomi. You wouldn't be. They would be. If they can't see your value, that's their failing, not yours. Silence. Then, come to my place tomorrow. Let's talk when we're not surrounded by people paid to have opinions about my life. Your place? Warren had never been there. Yeah. It's time we stopped keeping parts of our lives separate. The next afternoon, Warren drove to Naomi's building renovated lofts in a neighborhood he'd only seen from outside. Her apartment was large but not ostentatious. Comfortable furniture, minimal decorations, actual signs of life. This is nice, Warren said, meaning it. It's too big. I mostly use one bedroom and the living room. They sat on the couch with coffee. Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. Spent most of the night thinking about why Gregory was right. And I realized I don't care. Or I care, but not enough to walk away without trying. I like you. More than is probably smart, and I think we could have something real if we're willing to fight. Naomi was quiet, staring into her coffee. The board called an emergency meeting for tomorrow. There's talk of reviewing my position, questioning my judgment. So yes, dating you might cost me my career. Warren's heart sank. Then we should, but, Naomi interrupted. I've been thinking about whether I want to keep working for a board that thinks they control my personal life. I have enough money that I never have to work again. The question isn't whether I can afford to fight for this, it's whether I want to. And Warren, I do. Your company. That's your father's legacy. No, Naomi said firmly. My father's legacy is me, his daughter, living a full life, choosing happiness, refusing to let others dictate my worth. He didn't work 3 jobs so I could be a CEO. He worked so I could have options, freedom, the ability to choose. And I'm choosing you. I'm choosing us. I'm choosing to fight for something real instead of settling for what looks good on paper. I'm terrified, Warren admitted. Terrified of not being enough. Good. Because I don't want fancy restaurants or expensive things. I want you complicated, scared, hard-working you. I want Anthony's diner and your beat-up truck and Rosie's astronomy project. I want real. Warren kissed her then, not brief or tentative, but full of everything he'd been holding back. So, what now? Warren asked. The board meeting tomorrow, what will you tell them? The truth. That I'm dating you. That I care about you. And if they can't accept that, I'm prepared to walk away from the CEO position. She smiled. I've been thinking about starting something new anyway. Something smaller, more focused on actual work instead of corporate politics. Don't quit because of me. You're not the reason. I've been unhappy for a while. You just helped me realize I don't have to keep doing it. Over the next 3 months, Warren watched Naomi plan her exit from Hartwell Analytics. She met with lawyers, worked with Patricia on a new business plan, negotiated her transition. It was messy and complicated, but Naomi handled it with calm determination. Meanwhile, Warren took the logistics management position, single shift, decent pay, actual benefits. For the first time in 5 years, he worked 40 hours a week with weekends off. The extra time with Rosie was transformative. They cooked dinner together, worked on projects, went to parks on Saturdays, and Naomi became part of that rhythm, joining them for dinner twice a week, attending Rosie's school play, teaching Rosie to code during one memorable weekend. There were hard moments, meeting Naomi's siblings and feeling out of place. The magazine article referring to him as the Billionaire's charitable project. But there were good moments too. Rosie calling Naomi my dad's girlfriend with pride. The morning Naomi brought breakfast just to eat together. The night Warren found both Rosie and Naomi passed out on his couch, astronomy books everywhere, and felt so full of love he thought his chest might burst. Spring came, then summer. Naomi officially left Hartwell Analytics in June, walking away from her CEO title and millions in unvested stock. She started her new company with Patricia, something focused on AI applications for education, smaller, more mission-driven. No board of directors this time, she told Warren at Anthony's diner. Just me and Patricia and people who actually care about the work. August brought Rosie's 10th birthday at the park where they'd all first met. Cake shaped like Saturn, a dozen school friends, Mrs. Chen, co-workers. Warren watched Naomi helping kids with the telescope she'd bought Rosie, explaining constellations with genuine enthusiasm, and felt something settle in his chest. This was real. This was his life now. Not perfect, but genuinely, solidly good. That evening, after guests left and Rosie went to bed exhausted, Warren and Naomi sat on his building's roof, looking at city lights. "Can I tell you something?" Warren said. "Always. I love you. I've loved you since you suggested we leave that fancy restaurant, since you waited when you had every reason to leave, since you saw Rosie and understood why she's my world. I love you. And I probably should have said it months ago, but I was scared." Naomi was crying and smiling. "I love you too. I've been waiting for you to say it first. But Warren, I've loved you since that first diner date, since you showed up late in work clothes and apologized, since you talked about Rosie like she hung the moon, since you let me see your real life instead of trying to impress me." They kissed under stars, choosing each other anyway, choosing to build something real instead of something easy, choosing love over logic, hope over fear, possibility over probability. 6 months later, on a cold December evening, exactly 1 year after their blind date, Warren and Naomi returned to Anthony's diner. Rosie came with them this time. Patty appeared with her knowing smile. "Anniversary dinner? Something like that," Naomi confirmed. While they waited for food, Warren pulled out a small box. Not a ring that wasn't happening tonight, not without more time, but a different kind of promise. "I got you something." Naomi opened it to find a simple silver bracelet with an engraved plate. She read the inscription and laughed with tears. "I'm still here. The text you sent that first night," Warren explained. "When I was sitting in my truck thinking I should go home. You said you were still here, still waiting, and it changed everything." "I'm still here," Naomi repeated softly, putting on the bracelet. "Still waiting, still choosing you, still all in." "Me too," Warren said. Rosie looked between them and rolled her eyes. "Are you guys going to be gross all night? Because I came here for grilled cheese, not to watch you be romantic." They laughed and ate together, the three of them, in a diner that smelled like coffee and bacon grease and home. Around them, the city moved on, but in this booth, things were simple. A man who'd learned he deserved happiness. A woman who'd chosen authenticity over performance. A child who'd taught them both what love really looked like. Some people are worth waiting for. Some stories don't end with grand gestures or perfect solutions. They end with grilled cheese at a diner, with silver bracelets and inside jokes, with the simple, extraordinary gift of being seen for exactly who you are. The fancy restaurant where they'd first met had closed months ago, too expensive, unable to survive in a city that valued authenticity. But Anthony's diner was still open, still serving coffee too strong and pie too sweet. You could find them there sometimes, usually Sunday mornings, with Rosie between them working on homework or reading about distant galaxies. People occasionally recognized Naomi, still took pictures, still gossiped about the billionaire who'd walked away from her company for a warehouse manager. But mostly, people just saw what they were. A family that found each other against the odds. A family that chose each other every single day. A family built not on fairy tale logic, but on something more powerful, genuine connection, hard-won trust, and the revolutionary belief that love doesn't require perfect circumstances. It just requires showing up, being honest, waiting for someone worth waiting for. And if Warren still arrived a little late, sometimes work ran over, traffic was bad, life got complicated, well, Naomi had gotten good at waiting. Because some people are worth the wait. Some people are worth fighting for. Some people are worth choosing again and again, in 1,000 small moments that add up to one extraordinary life. That's the story, in the end. Not about a blind date or a billionaire or a struggling single dad, but about two people who were brave enough to build something real in a world that rewarded performance. Who looked at impossible odds and said, "Let's try anyway," and in their small, imperfect, absolutely genuine way they did. The end.